All right, let's go straight into it. Bella Fiore reaction to the case of Stephen Clayton. Let's go.
Hey guys, it's Bella. Welcome
Hi,
back
Bella.
to another Mystery Monday. I hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. Happy Monday. I'm happy
My
to be
week's kind
here
of shit, if
hanging
I'm
out
being
with you
honest, but it
again
is what
from
it
my
is. Just watching
Airbnb.
Bella
I'm in an
Fiore now,
Airbnb right
so
now
it's
because
gonna be
we just
great
moved
now.
to Sydney. We just packed up our car, little Mia in the back, and we drove to Sydney. So we're in an Airbnb right now until
Oh,
our
okay.
apartment is ready because we
I've
got
never been in an
accepted to an apartment.
Airbnb in my life. I barely even know what those are. Is it like a caravan? I don't know what an Airbnb is, if I'm being honest. But it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. I'm just checking my mic's working. Poo, 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 poo. Okay, cool.
And we're moving in less than 2 weeks, and I'm so excited because we have been living out of a suitcase since the 2nd of February now. So I am
Damn.
ready. I'm so ready
Goddamn,
to
bro.
just unpack, and I'm so ready to just have hair tools again. Like, all we have right now and all we've had since February is the suitcases we brought with us when we left London in February.
Bro, how did they not have a plan when going back to Australia? There's some law here, chat, which you don't really understand. So I probably should just skip this against the actual thing, but you know, like it's just she moved. Originally lived in Australia. She moved to London, and she recently moved back to Australia. But it seems like they've just been living on fucking, I don't know, poverty, you know.
Everything else is in a
And
shipping
also, by the way,
container.
bro, like I don't even know what it is. Like I got home, I started wearing these new shoes to school, and they're hella pointy. And the things in my toes, right? You see that? Why am I showing you guys my toes? I've already started, so might as well commit to it, you know. Basically, I shouldn't show it here. Like, let me wait, chill. Hey. All right, so you see this, bro? This toe like goes inwards. So I have this like thing here. It's called a bunion. This little bone bit here. You get me? And I'm wearing these really pointy shoes, and like they've actually been kind of killing my feet now. Like I got home and they've just been hurting so bad. Like that bone right there. So if I'm like fidgeting bears, you can see me fidgeting. I'm not playing my willy. I'm messing with my toes, you know.
Storage, and we get it in less than 2 weeks. So I'm really excited to just have my stuff and to be able to just unpack and get into a routine again. I'm missing London a lot. But I'm excited to be in Sydney. I'm excited to be back with my little Michelin
Mia.
star, my little baby. Anyway, I'm open to all Sydney recommendations: food, wine bars, pubs, walks,
I'm open
day
to all Sydney
trips, a
recommendations as well.
dermatologist because my skin has been
Look, we got
freaking
popcorn as
out.
well, right?
Also, I just turned 29.
I don't know if we should be eating popcorn
20.
watching this though. I'm not gonna lie, because this is gonna be an interesting story. I'm not even assuming. Stephen Clayton probably died. Yeah, I'd assume he died.
29. Just turned 29.
29.
29.
Happy birthday, Bella. Happy
29.
I'm 29, folks. What's up? 29?
Oh, that's a reference to something. I'm a bit too young to get that. She's 12 years older than me, damn.
29? Can you please not tell anybody I just did that?
I've been waiting to use that. I've been so excited to turn 29 just so I could say that. I was using it all day, and I think I'll be using it for the whole rest of the year until I'm not 29 anymore. Anyway, if you're new here, welcome. We talk about true crime cases on this channel on Mondays. So if that's something that you're into, then please come and join us and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Today, we're going to be talking about the case of Stephen Clayton, which took place back in 2018 in South Carolina.
2018 is recent. South Carolina as well.
I just heard of this case for the first time last week, and honestly, I was mind blown by this one because the murder weapon that was used in this case never would even cross my mind as something that
What are they gonna use? I actually wonder.
could be used as a murder weapon because it's just like a
It might have been like bludgeoned to death for something really weird. That's what I'm thinking.
regular household item. I have it. I'm sure probably a lot of you guys have it as well. The case was almost ruled an accident or just like, you know, written off as natural causes until Stephen's nephew came in and he was like, something is not right about this. There's something fishy going on here. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before we do get into the case, I just quickly want to thank today's sponsor, Sailey.
No, Joe, we got to listen to the Bella Fury sponsors because she low-key has my favorite videos on YouTube, I think.
You guys know I love Sailey. I can't even count on two hands how many times I have used Sailey in the last few years. I use them every single time I travel. I also have gotten everybody I know onto them. I recommend them to all my friends and family because they are that good. They're available in over 200 countries and regions. I've been able to use them on every trip that I've gone to. They're iOS and they're Android compatible. And they also offer global and regional plans. So if you're going on a trip, maybe you're going to multiple different places or multiple different countries, you don't have to get a new eSIM for every single place that you're
That
going
is
to. And it's
crazy.
so quick and so easy to use. You just go on the Saley app, you select the country, you select the plan, and that's it. It takes 10 seconds and you're
is
set up. It takes
crazy.
so much stress off. It's so much
Oh,
cheaper than
this
paying
is
roaming fees.
crazy.
They will also give you a full
Bruh,
refund
my
if you
fucking toe
do
is giving me
purchase
pain
an
signs,
eSIM
bro.
data plan, a Saley
It
eSIM
actually
data plan,
hurts.
and find
It
out for
doesn't, no,
whatever
it doesn't hurt
reason
that
that your
much.
device is not
I
eSIM
remember there's a time
compatible.
like
And you
last
can
year, bro, where like it actually was hurting all the fucking time. You know, that actually made me so bad. But it hasn't been hurting recently, so it's fine.
also get 15% off
Right now it's just hurting a bit, but it isn't too bad.
your first purchase of a Saley eSIM data plan if you go onto the app and you use the code Bellafiore at checkout. So I'll leave all of the information for that in the description box down below, so make sure you check that out. And let's go ahead and get into today's case. So Stephen Clayton was born on the 1st of May in 1954 in Miami Beach, Florida.
1954 1st of May, okay.
He grew up in that area around Hialeah and Miami Springs alongside his sisters. So he had five sisters: Rosie, Valerie, Patricia, Carmen, and Rosemary. Not a whole lot is known about his upbringing, though he did have some hardships and a bit of a tough upbringing, but he really used any adversity he faced to fuel him in life.
Shout out, I'm Morgan today. I'm Morgan. I feel like I'm looking kind of Morgan right now. Still a kind of insane physique, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like I'm kind of Morgan. I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry, guys.
He was always really determined, even from a young age. So growing up, he did go to the Miami Military Academy, then to the Miami Springs Senior High School, and he was a pretty talented athlete. He did track, football, and Greco-Roman
He
wrestling.
looks like George Cooper from Young Sheldon.
After he graduated from high school, he went to Florida State University and he worked his way through school as a construction laborer and plasterer. And on a side note, obviously very normal to kind of work your way through uni, but one thing about Stephen, talking about him working, is that he was a very hard worker. He was a very smart man and he was a very hard worker. He was always looking for ways to challenge himself to new levels of success. And not only was he a hard worker, but he was always looking to help others. He always wanted to lift other people with himself. So he didn't want to just succeed himself. He wanted everybody around him to succeed. People he didn't even know, he wanted them to succeed. He was always trying to give people a leg up. He was always giving people advice, and he was just known to be a very kind and selfless man who really wanted the best for everybody around him. He graduated from university in 1976 with a Bachelor of Science, and then he went on to become a certified public accountant. He started his career working in finance for the Holy Cross Hospital.
Wait, yeah, I think this is one of the ones. She hasn't done one of these in a while. I think he's gonna be the killer. I don't think he's getting murdered. He hasn't done this a lot. She hasn't done this in a while. She does all the time where she goes through the killer's perspective rather than the victims. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna be the killer because otherwise, I don't know why she'd be doing it exactly like this.
In Fort Lauderdale.
Like just storytelling tactics. I think this guy's the killer.
Before going on to found his own company called Physical Therapy Resources, which was a
Actually, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just yapping.
Physical therapy business that targeted sports injuries, and it was so successful that he made millions of dollars and he was actually able to retire at the age of 40. He was able to fully retire and go on to pursue his dreams of world travel, basically, which doesn't that sound nice? Retire at 40 and just travel the world. And in his retirement, again, he was still just trying to do everything he could to help everybody else. So he was on the phone all the time. His phone was kind of described by his family members as a bit of a lifeline. So he was always on his phone. He was...
Bro, if anyone messages on my phone, on my life, you'll see, I'll see that message and I'll reply instantly. And that's just something I can't be asked replying to. I got a message from my dad today and like, bro, I just saw it and I'm like, yeah, this ain't getting replied to. I'd rather legitimately jump into ongoing traffic. So I didn't reply to it. But most messages I'll reply to because I'll see it and I don't have an ego, so I instantly check it. Unlike other people who see it and are like, I saw the message, but you know, I'm just Drake, so I don't have time to reply for that, you know.
Always answering calls from people day and night just to answer questions, give people advice. He really cared about kids as well, right? So he didn't have any kids of his own, but he really wanted kids and young people to succeed as they grew up. So he was a mentor to a lot of young people, stayed in touch with them over
I think he is
the years after mentoring them. And a lot of the people that he mentored went on to become really successful in their lives because he just wanted kids to have the best opportunities like they could, that he wanted them to have every opportunity, all of the advice that they needed, all of the information that they needed to go out into the world and do their best, really. He also coached wrestling at the University of South
Okay.
Florida, the American Heritage Academy, and the Cardinal Gibbons. He just seemed like a really great guy. He was described as a magnanimous man. He had a very broad, diverse circle of friends, and from what I've read about him, he was just one of those big personality, larger than life guys, and everybody
Ew,
that he
that
met
smile.
became
That's about. That's some killer smile if I ever saw one. But I feel like, I don't know.
part of his extended
I don't want
family.
to say anything too soon because I don't want to start flaming this guy if he's actually the killer. I mean, if he's not the killer. And vice versa. I don't want to not flame him and be a nice guy if he is the killer, you get me?
His friend said that with every new year around the sun, he remained a kid at heart. He was super energetic, he was really fun, always keen for a new adventure. He had a great sense of humor, and he was also into the finer things that life had to offer. So he loved a bit of music, he loved some wine, cigars, he collected fine arts. He was a writer, an avid golfer, and a huge FSU football fan. So by all accounts,
What is FSU? Is that a team? I'm assuming it's all American football here, so that's like a team, I guess. Yeah, actually speaking to my mic like a good boy, but fucking I just like laying back sometimes. Maybe I do this method today. Give me a second, you might hear sounds, and I'm too lazy to edit my YouTube video, so you're still gonna hear this in the YouTube video. It's just how it is. I'm just like this. Sorry, this might be very annoying to hear. It's just being a bit stiff, you know. But how are you all doing today on this fine Tuesday? It's gonna upload on a Tuesday, you know, the every other day uploads. I've been splendid on the grind, you know, but I'm looking kind of like really. My mental state right now is not good at all, but it is what it is. But I just kind of just do all this shit because I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. My mental state is kind of shambolic because of everything that's going on in my life right now. I kind of want to just like. Nah, we're not gonna say that. We're gonna keep the vibes positive, you know. Watching a true crime reaction, that's the most positive thing on YouTube, right? Alright, now we lay back and we listen.
obviously a good person, an incredibly warm and generous guy who had built a very successful life for himself.
Okay.
Now, his personal life is where things get a little
There we go. There we go. The personal life is always that he's married, he probably cheats on his wife cheats on him, he might hit her or some bullshit.
bit messier because he was a man who loved love, loved being in love. He was a bit of a hopeless romantic, but by 2010, he had been married and divorced 6 separate times.
6? Bro's rival, bro is rival, I was trying to say rivaling. No, it's rivaling King Henry the fucking 8th, Big Henry the 8th, bro. How you been married and divorced 6 times, bro? Like, come on, pick your partner better, bro. I feel like I always see these true crime videos. And these true crime videos, I always say this exact same statement. The pussy cannot have been that good. You know?
Clearly, relationships were not his strong suit for whatever reason. I mean, from what I've read, pretty much all of his I couldn't find anything about any of these relationships.
Bro, this is so adorable, by the way. The dog in the background, her just like chilling. Oh, that's so cute.
On bad terms,
So
and a lot
cute,
of his
so
exes have nothing but good things to say about him as well. But just relationships just were not his strong suit. But that did not stop him from trying again and trying to find love.
I'm trying to get back in dating game, bro.
And in 2010, he meets a woman online. She's a nurse, and her name is Lena Clayton.
Does she kill him? This is actually one of the first in a while I don't really know where this is going, because a lot of the time, like these recent ones, you kind of know exactly where it's going. It's the first time in a while I'm actually kind of lost. Like, I don't know if he kills her, she kills him, some other bullshit happens, who knows?
Friends and family said Stephen was drawn to her because she was such a caring woman. His sister Rosie said that she could sense that Stephen loved Lena very much and that she also loved him very much. And so 3 years after they met, they got married in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2013. This was also Lena's second marriage as well. So she had been married once before and she had children from that first marriage as well. A couple of years after the wedding, so in 2015, they relocated from North Carolina to South Carolina and they bought this absolute mansion on Lake Wylie, which is right near the border of North Carolina. This house was insane, you guys. It was right on the water, absolutely huge, beautiful place. It was actually modeled after George Washington's Mount Vernon estate, and Stephen even restored the property himself. They had 2 Italian Greyhound dogs that they loved. Their names were Guinness and Sadie.
A dog that can like defend my home would be so tough. A dog that on my stream as well could be tough. I want a dog like her. I want like a nice big one. I was thinking the other day of what I'd want. I want like a German Shepherd, or I'd want like probably like a similar dog to her, a sheepdog type thing. Those things are so tough.
Like I said, Steve was retired. Lena was working still as a nurse at a few different veterans hospitals. And Stephen was a very, very social guy. He had a lot of friends, a lot of
And
family.
genuinely, when I become a streamer, bro, well, that's when I'm in my own place as well, because my mum wouldn't like having a dog around here, bro. Like, when I have my own place, wallahi, I'm gonna have a dog. It's gonna be so fun.
So they just had people around the house.
Let's not say wallahi on that, actually. I'm not even religious, but like, I don't think saying wallahi on that's great.
All the time, friends, family. He was close to his nephews, his nieces. They had parties at the home all the time. And his nephew Chris said it was always a lot of fun at the house. The dogs would be running around, the kids would be chasing after the dogs, Steve would be telling jokes, music would be playing, and everyone was always having a great time. He had a 4th of July party in 2018 with fireworks and
USA,
dance floor,
USA,
and he and Lena
USA,
just really seemed
USA,
like they had it all. One friend named
United
Terry
States
Floyd,
of
he was a close
America.
friend and also a neighbor of the Claytons, and he said that
sorry.
they just seemed really in love. Lena would always come over to him and give him a kiss on the forehead and tell him that she loved him. Friends and family and neighbors said that Lena was a sweet woman. She was part of a local Bible study group, and she just seemed like a very kind, grounded, and caring woman. But on the 21st of July in 2018, their seemingly idyllic life was shattered. At around 1 p.m.
Who is it? Who is it? Okay, but the normal way she does these videos, well, no, not normal, but 9% of the time when she does these videos, she does go through the victim's perspective, and then the victim is the one who's killed. She might have switched up and gone back to the older formula doing the killer, but I think it's probably him who does.
Lena comes running out of their house, and she comes out just as this motorcyclist named James Blackledge is driving down the street. She's frantically waving at him to get him to stop, and when he does stop, she tells him, "You need to call 911. My husband's falling down the stairs and I think that he's dead."
Falling down the stairs. Oh, fuck.
It is.
What's it called? Kuina from One Piece. That is 100% cap, by the way. Like, this guy got fucking pushed down the stairs.
Riding by, and a woman came running out and said her husband fell down the steps and she thinks he's dead.
As James is on the call with the dispatcher, with 911, Lena runs over to her neighbor's house. This is her and Steve's friend, Terry Floyd. She starts banging on his door frantically. So he comes running out of the front door and saying, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Lena tells him that she thinks it's Steve. So they hop into Terry's golf cart. He drives them back over to the Clayton house, and Lena is in hysterics. So she waits outside while Terry goes inside of their house, and that is where he finds Steve lying at the base of their staircase in the foyer. He rushes over and he's trying to get a pulse, but there was just nothing, and he knew that Steve was dead. When emergency responders arrived
So
at
why do you think she killed her shot? I'm thinking she was probably cheating on him, scared he was gonna find out, and killed him.
shortly after.
Actually, he's also rich, so it could just be money. That's probably more likely as well.
They confirmed this, and they pronounced 64-year-old Stephen Clayton dead at the scene. They go outside and they talk to Lena, who told them that Steve had been sick for the last couple of days, so he had been in bed with a really bad case of vertigo, which, if you don't know what vertigo is, it's basically where you feel like you're spinning or you feel like you're in motion when you're not actually moving. So he was feeling nauseous, he was feeling dizzy, and he was essentially bedridden in their bed, which is on the second floor of the home. He also didn't want to go and see a doctor, and
I'm not gonna know,
obviously
autism is getting triggered by this dog.
Lena is a nurse, so she was taking care of him. She was making sure he had his water, his medication, that, you know, just checking in on him and making sure he was okay. On the
Wait, so maybe she drugged him to give him vertigo. Is that possible?
morning of the 21st of July, she went up to check on him at around 11 a.m. and he was fast asleep. So she decided to go out and mow the lawn. Obviously, it's a huge property, a lot of lawn. It took her a couple of hours. And when she came back inside, that is when she found her husband at the bottom of the stairs, unconscious. She rushed over to him and she tried to turn him over so that she could perform CPR, but she couldn't move him over. He was too heavy for her. And so that's when she ran outside.
That's cap, by the way. Wallahi, that's cap. No one can be too heavy to... I might take that back slightly, but I feel like she can 100% turn him over, bro. I can't have been that. He's not that fat, you know?
to go and get some help.
He's
To
not moving
emergency
like Gorlock
responders,
or
it
some
was a
shit.
tragic scene. It looked like a terrible accident. You know, Steve was in his 60s, had some underlying health concerns. He wasn't the healthiest of guys. He'd also been unwell for the past couple of days with vertigo and in bed. And because Lana was outside, it seemed like he had gotten up and wanted to, whatever it was, he wanted to come downstairs and get some water. He wanted to come down and see Lena.
He's actually edited a fucking YouTube video now, bro. Wait, what is this stupid ass notification? I'm actually gonna shoot.
Whatever the case may have been, it seemed to them like he
write down
was
20
trying to
minutes
go
in.
down the stairs, and with his vertigo, he got really dizzy and he fell down the stairs to his death. Lena felt completely guilty about not going in and checking on him sooner, so she was absolutely devastated, and officers on the scene were comforting her. Her friend and neighbor Terry was comforting her. As news spread,
I'm so devastated. She killed her, by the way. She killed her.
and friends and
She killed him.
family heard what had happened, they also made their way over to the house to be there for Lena. The coroner was contacted shortly after 1 p.m., who came to the house, and she concluded that there was nothing suspicious in the death, right? There was no bruises or abrasions that made it seem like he had fallen down the stairs. What she found was actually some discoloration, which made it appear that he had had a heart attack. So maybe he got to the bottom of the stairs and he just collapsed. So she concluded at the time that it appeared to be a natural death. Pretty soon after all of this happened, Steve's nephew, a guy named Nick French, heard what happened, and he is actually a cop in a nearby
Better do the autopsies and stuff, because I'm pretty sure they better not just fucking rule this as an accident. Do an autopsy, please. Rule this as a homicide and do an autopsy.
town. So he was
That's
an
what I'd recommend
experienced
using
cop,
my
he
own
was an
detective
experienced
sense.
investigator, and of course when he heard what happened, he rushed over to the house. When he got there, Lena was very emotional, and the deputy coroner came over to her and started talking to her about funeral arrangements. And of course she just had her head in her hands, she was crying, and she was just very overwhelmed.
Show me a tear. Show me a tear. On my soul, wallahi. God, strike me down if I'm lying, bruh. But she will not be shedding a single tear. She's literally larping. She is larping right now.
Saying, I don't know what to do. She says, it's all just too much to think about for her right now. So the deputy coroner offers to take Steve's body to the morgue and do an autopsy.
Good.
And Nick is there, so he tells her, I really think that's a good idea. At this point, Lena takes her head out of
Oh my god. Oh, Morocco. What's she gonna say, bro? Oh, that's not necessary. Huh?
her hands, and she says, you know what, there's a funeral home nearby, let's just take him there and have him cremated.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch. You stupid. You silly bitch. You silly bitch. Oh my god.
By itself, not totally suspicious, right? Plenty of people, it's actually very common for people, especially when there's no suspicious circumstances surrounding a death, for people not to want their loved ones cut up, especially after they've just passed away. But Nick, being an experienced cop, being an experienced investigator, it just set off a little spidey sense, because he just thought it was such a
I like that reference.
quick change from saying, I don't know what to do, I really don't know, it's all too much to think about, to as soon as an autopsy is mentioned, she brings her head up and she says, no, let's take him to the local funeral home and let's have him cremated. Then when Nick suggested that they contact Chris, who is Steve's other nephew, and, just to let him know that his uncle had died, because Chris and Steve were quite close, Lena immediately said no. She said she didn't want Chris to see his uncle in that way. But, Nick said Chris is an adult. He's a big boy. He can make the decision for himself.
True.
But Lena was insistent. And on the third time that she said no, because obviously Nick kept saying, we should definitely contact him. We should definitely give him a call, break the news to him. The third time Lena had to say no, she yelled at Nick. Immediately he thinks, okay, something weird is going on here. So he goes inside and he walks upstairs to call Chris. Chris, after he hears the news, then calls Steve's sister, Rosie, who was still living in Florida, to break the news to her. Obviously, she was devastated, but she also had not been able to get in contact with Steve for the past 3 days. She couldn't text him, couldn't call him, or she could, but she wasn't able to get in contact with him. She didn't hear back from him. She said suddenly there were no replies, and that was not like him.
Yeah, so she definitely drugged him, then took his phone and stuff, made sure he wouldn't be able to contact anyone. That's 100% what happens.
To just completely cut off. I thought it was very odd. So Steve's body was taken to the local funeral home under Lena's request, and his cremation was scheduled for 2 days' time, so 2 days after his death. Shortly after his body is taken, his nephew Chris arrives at the home, immediately goes over to comfort Lena, and Lena tells him, I'm going to need a little bit of help organizing his affairs. So Chris says, okay, first thing we should do is we should find his will so that we know exactly what he wants to happen. If he wants to be buried, if he wants to be cremated. But Lena tells him that there's no will. Immediately weird to Chris, because Chris knew for fact
That's pretty sussy. Bro, if you're this rich and you don't have a will, it's kind of crazy.
that there was a will. He'd seen the will. Steve had even asked him to be the executor of the will at one point.
She's
So he
good,
knew
Jack.
that
She's
there was a
good.
will. I mean, even if he hadn't seen the will, it would be crazy for there not to be one, considering Steve is a very smart guy. He's a very wealthy guy as well. He's in his 60s. Like, of course he had a will. But when Chris tells all of this to Lena, and he tells her, I've seen the will, I know there's a will, I'll help you find it. Lena stands up, she goes, I said there is no will, and then she just walks off and walks into the house.
will.
Immediate alarm bells
I said there is no will.
for Chris, right? To make things even more suspicious, when she goes inside, she goes into the kitchen, and she starts telling these stories and kind of talking badly about Steve, and she's talking about how he would use and abuse illicit drugs. She called him a hardcore drug user. She's telling all these stories, she's laughing. Nick also happens to overhear all of this, and she's telling people how she doesn't want an autopsy done because she's worried about what the toxicology will say and what it will show about all of his illicit drug use. But he never did any crazy drugs. Nobody that knew him, Nick and Chris, didn't know him to do anything like that. Nobody knew him to do anything like that. All he did was drink and maybe smoke a little weed. And smoking weed really isn't that big of a deal, unless maybe Lena is like super religious and very proper. But, he's in his 60s. He's retired. He's enjoying his life. Maybe he drinks a little. Maybe he smokes a little bit of weed. Really not that big of a deal. True. Nick was already suspicious from when she just perks up after the autopsy's mentioned, and she's like, no, take him to the local funeral home and have him cremated.
Bro, it's because the autopsy's gonna say she fucking she laced his fucking food with some shit, and it made him get all sick and get what they call it, veneer or some shit, bro.
Bad mouthing her husband, who just died a couple hours beforehand. And the whole thing with the will as well, it was just the biggest alarm bells. And those alarm bells were only solidified by what he found inside the house. So, of course, he did a little walkthrough of the house to see what was going on, see what he could find. First thing he found is that there were 2 phones in the house, and yet Lana didn't call 911 or any emergency services.
I was literally thinking this, by the way, I didn't say it. Well, I need to just say everything on my mind. I was just like, why did she not call the police herself? Why does she have to go outside and make that person call the police? It's not even like it's not even like she asked for his help or something. I was literally thinking this. I don't know why I didn't say anything, bro.
Instead, for some reason, she runs out of the place and flags down some random guy driving down the street. Then she goes and runs over to her neighbor as well and lets him go inside while she waited outside. Obviously, in that sort of situation, you're not always thinking straight. So her sitting outside and, if your husband is potentially passed away inside, maybe you don't want to see that. So fair enough. If it was just the one red flag, though, if that was the only thing that had happened, maybe he could look past it, but there was just so many other things. The second thing is that Steve's phone was nowhere to be found whatsoever. And like I said before, he was always on his phone. His phone was like a lifeline to him. So it's very, very strange that his phone was nowhere to be found throughout the entire house, and they never did find his phone. On top of that, despite the fact that Lana is a nurse, she didn't attempt CPR at all. And
I was thinking this as well, bro. She's a nurse. You didn't do anything. Bro, you're a nurse. Bro, chat, I'm telling you, I'm actually so high IQ. I need to just say all my ideas on stream. You guys literally goon when you hear that shit.
The worst part of it is that he found that Steve's bed was drenched with urine. It was clear that he had been in that bed for multiple days and was in such a bad way that he couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. When he asked Lena...
Why did you say urine, though, bro? It's urine, come on.
...about the urine that he found in the bed, she said, he just does that when he's got vertigo, it happens. But Nick was honestly in complete shock at the state of the bed. And Lena is a nurse, after all. You'd think that she would be taking care of him, or she claimed that she was taking care of him while he was feeling unwell with vertigo. And one of the things as well is that Steve's sister Rosie said when Steve met Lena, one of the things she loved is that she was a nurse, so that if he was feeling unwell, because obviously he had some underlying health
have a
issues, she
turntable.
would be there to look after him. Even if he just felt ill, even if he just had the flu, she would be there to look after him. But if Lena had been taking care of him, even a little bit, if she had been looking after him at all like she claimed that she had been over those last 3 days, if she had been sleeping in the same bed as him, because why wouldn't she be sleeping in the same bed as him? They're married, no marital issues that anyone knows of, vertigo
Yeah,
isn't
but also
contagious.
he's sick
Surely
to
she
be
would have
fa- oh,
changed those
okay.
bed sheets. Even if she
Fair
wasn't
enough
sleeping
then.
in the same bed as him for whatever reason, maybe he's snoring, whatever it is, even if she wasn't sleeping in the same bed as him, if she was looking after him, surely she would change those bed sheets so that he doesn't have to sleep in his own urine. And not just sleep, I mean, he was apparently bedridden for 3 days. So he was spending all of his time over the last 72 hours in urine-soaked sheets.
It's urine,
and was
girl.
so
It's
unwell that he
urine.
couldn't even get out of bed for 3
Urine,
days
urine,
at
not
all.
urine.
From this alone, it was
Urine,
clear
urine,
to
it's
Nick
urine.
and Chris as well that Steve had been in this bed suffering 4 days and was unable to reach anybody for help. And shortly after the discovery as well, Lena basically demanded that everybody leave the house. The next day, on the Sunday, Chris and his wife had planned to go to Lena's house, go back to the house to basically help her sort everything out following her husband's death and help her locate the will, all of that sort of thing. When they got on the phone and he basically tells her, I'm going to come over, or they're organizing a time, whatever.
No,
Lena basically
you don't
says,
have to.
do not come here. He's my husband. I will figure it all out. I will handle everything. And she hung up the phone on him. So he calls Nick. Nick and his wife immediately go over to Chris's house, and when they get there, Chris and Nick just look at each other and say something is wrong here. Something's going on. They immediately set to work trying to get to the bottom of whatever it is, and the first thing that they do is they try to schedule or get an autopsy and a toxicology report done before Steve's cremated, because his cremation is scheduled for the very next day. They get in contact with the coroner, and
they're
the
working against
coroner
timing, bro.
agrees
Okay, good, because if they didn't get that, she would have actually gone away with this. No joke. She would have genuinely gone away with it. Goddamn.
to do the toxicology and the autopsy. When the autopsy came back, it confirmed that Steve hadn't died of a heart attack, but there was nothing suspicious in the autopsy at all. There was nothing wrong with his chest, his heart, his lungs, and he also had some underlying health issues. So he had gallbladder disease, he had an enlarged heart, he had some congested lungs, all of which could
An
have
enlarged heart.
caused
I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm assuming it's all related to obesity though, because he does look obese, So wait, let me see if I remember GCSE biology, chat. When you have a lot of LDL cholesterol, which is basically bad cholesterol, which you get from eating fatty foods, it can block up your arteries and make it so blood can't really flow there, which is what normally causes a heart attack. Bang. Easy.
a natural death. But the toxicology report is where things did start to get suspicious.
Oh,
The very
toxicology.
toxicology report that Lena was so insistent that she didn't want because she was so concerned about it and concerned about what it would reveal. They get the report back mid-August, and it doesn't show any hardcore illicit drug use or anything like that. What it shows is a very high amount of a chemical called tetrahydrozoline.
She
now,
drugged
tetrahydrozoline
him.
is the active ingredient that you find in over-the-counter eye drops, which is crazy because this is like a regular household item. This is something I'm sure a lot of you guys have. I definitely
I know
have
eye
it. It's like
drops.
the anti-redness eye drops.
I didn't know that was a thing. I want
or I
those,
never would have
bro.
expected that this could be used to harm somebody, which is funny.
Okay, I use that to hide my cocaine items.
Because I've seen Wedding Crashers. I don't know if you guys remember the scene in Wedding Crashers where Owen Wilson is like, get me the eye drops. And then he puts eye drops in Bradley Cooper's water or his wine or his drink, whatever it is, just to make him sick. They've also actually used it in an episode of CSI back in 2002.
What is
where
odd references
a killer
she's
uses eye drops. Still,
I need to expand my repertoire
never
stuff
would have
though.
crossed my mind that eye drops are like a super harmful, super dangerous thing. But if it is ingested in a large enough amount, it can cause serious cardiovascular and respiratory issues. And the amount of this chemical that was found in Stephen's body was 30 times the amount that you would see under regular use.
It literally just means for days on days she was just putting little drops in his food, and yeah, culminated in him being fucking bedridden and urinating himself like, bruh.
And the toxicologist
I can
said that
officially
this
say-
was without a doubt the cause of death. Now, investigators were left
We need to
wondering
shoot this woman.
if this was an accidental overdose, if this was a homicidal overdose. It's all obviously looking very suspicious right now. So they do a little digging and they find out about an incident that occurred back in 2016, an incident involving a crossbow. Doesn't sound good, right? Basically, in 2016, Lena shot Steve in the head while he was asleep with a crossbow accidentally.
What? What? Bro, what have I just heard, man? Like, what do you mean? You shot him in the head with a crossbow accidentally? I just shot you accidentally! I just shot you in the head accidentally while you're asleep! Like, what? You think I'm doing this accidentally? Like, while I'm asleep? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh yeah, Layla accidentally shot me with a crossbow while he was asleep. Oh my god, bro. Wrap it up. Lock her up. Lock her up.
Lena claimed it was an accident. Steve also claimed it was an accident.
Oh my god, Steve, hop off that penis. I mean, the pussy cannot be that good, Steve.
There were only minor injuries and no charges were ever filed.
She must have had shit aim, by the way. If he only gets minor injuries from that, he doesn't die while he's asleep with a crossbow, bro. Like, she must have shit aim.
But now, given the circumstances, it's looking a lot less accidental. Like maybe this was just kind of the first attempt. So on the 29th of August 2018, the coroner, Dr. Sabrina Gast, asks Lena to come in just so that they can kind of go over the results of the autopsy and the toxicology. Lena has no idea that anyone's suspicious of her or anything like that. Obviously, she now knows that they kind of went behind her back and did the autopsy and the toxicology report,
you silly
even
bitch.
though she
You
told
silly
them not to.
bitch.
But she has no idea that they're suspicious of her at all. She also doesn't know that when she goes and talks to the coroner, investigators from the sheriff's office and also from the FBI were going to be sitting in the next room. So they set up all these microphones in her room where she was going to be sitting down, and they were in the room next door basically listening in.
I've got a couple questions. Look over some things. We've got some reports back.
When Dr. Gass goes over the toxicology report with Lena, she says, we found tetrahydrozoline in his system. And Lena is completely unfazed by this. She goes, oh yeah, that's his eye drops. So immediately she has an explanation. Immediately she knows exactly what this chemical is. She also explains that he would put a couple of drops of his eye drops into his coffee every single morning.
Oh my god, just wrap it. It's literally what I said, basically. I said food, but obviously food is a bit more obscure, but like coffee. She's just lacing his fucking coffee every day. Get a grip, you silly bitch.
To
try and get his bowels moving. And he'd done it for years by this point.
So they one time told him who lies in with help him go to the bathroom and it put like 2 drops in his coffee and
which first of all makes no sense, because literally why would he be doing that? And why would his nurse wife be letting him do that? She would surely be like, take a laxative or something, dude. Don't, like, why are you putting eye drops in your coffee every morning? And if it's that bad that you need to do it every single morning for years to get your bowels moving, go and see a doctor. There's no way a nurse who clearly knows what this chemical is allowing her husband to put this potentially dangerous chemical in his coffee every single morning.
Money.
When who even thinks of that? Who was like, I need to go to the bathroom,
woman.
let me put a couple eye drops in my coffee. No normal, regular person is doing that. Even if he was doing that, that doesn't explain why there was so much of it in his toxicology report. Anyway, because she was so quick to know exactly what that was, as soon as that chemical came up, she was immediately like, yep, that's his Visine, that's his eye drops. Detectives knew from that alone that she knew that that was going to come up in his toxicology report. Likely because she had been the one poisoning him with it. When they questioned her on it about the fact that she was a nurse, she should know that it's potentially dangerous. Why would she be letting her husband take it? She basically said that she didn't know that it could be dangerous. She didn't think eye drops could be anything serious. At this point, investigators decide to come in and talk to her directly, read her rights, and talk to her face to face. They start questioning her about her whole story, about not giving him CPR and about not calling 911. The more she goes over this story, the more inconsistencies there are. So they keep pushing her.
Booyah!
And she sort of realizes and clocks onto the fact that they're not buying her story.
I need a lawyer.
So she just switches up and she starts going on about, maybe he ended his own life because he had a mood disorder. She always felt like she was walking on eggshells around him because she never knew what Stephen she was going to come home to. He could be really mean. He was verbally abusive, calling her names, all of that sort of thing.
What is nasty?
really verbally abusive, you know, calling me names, stupid.
You can already tell she's gonna put out rape allegations or something. Like, it's just so obvious.
I didn't think Visine was anything that would be serious to your health. I feel like you guys are, you know, doing your job and you're, you know, wondering if I killed my husband, and I did not kill my husband.
She starts getting really defensive as they
LARP! I'm watching some insane LARPing going on right now. Like, this is the type of LARP I aspire to be able to do. Holy fuck. LARP, 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 so
continue questioning her about the coffee and why would a nurse allow him to put Visine in his coffee, the eye drops in his coffee every single day. She's a nurse, surely she should know the effects of that. So she ends the interview and she goes home. Investigators decided to follow her home so they could continue the conversation. When they get to her house,
surely they have enough evidence to arrest her, right? I mean, I guess. Nah, they probably can't get her anything, actually. She's actually lucky. They probably cannot arrest her for anything right now. I don't know if there's enough probable cause. Like, there's barely any, to be fair.
She agrees to sit down with them and they recorded the whole thing. Thank God they followed her home, right? Because I don't know if the drive home had got her thinking or whatever it was, but she gets back and during this conversation, she basically confesses to them. She says that one day she just snapped. She was looking after him because he wasn't feeling well in bed and she had this whole setup on his bedside table. His water, his tissues, his medications, and his Visine was just sitting right there. She was so angry and so upset after all of the years of abuse that she just grabbed it and she poured the—
Bro, stop LARPing. Like, maybe he abused you and I'm just being a dickhead right now, but I swear on my life she's LARPing right now. Like, it's just so suspicious that all of it's coming out right now. I mean, he's so verbally abusive to me, that's why I killed him.
whole thing into his water while he was asleep.
You know, I had his
The
little
whole
table
thing,
set up
bro.
next to the bed with his
I thought she'd be
tissues,
putting through drops every single day. No, the whole thing all at once. Goddamn.
his urinal, his, you know, medication, his Visine, and I just thought, just...
Hey, if this woman still pleads not guilty somehow, by the way, I'm going to actually jump into ongoing traffic.
I was just so angry, and I just took and squirted it. I think it put the whole thing in.
And she keeps talking too. She said that she wanted him to suffer because, you know, she was so sick of all of his demands. She was sick of the help me do this, help me do that. She was sick of his verbal and now his physical abuse as well. She didn't want to kill him. She just wanted him to suffer for a little bit, have a little bit of diarrhea, maybe just be a little bit miserable for a while the effects kind of went through him. Also, during this conversation, she admitted that the crossbow thing wasn't an accident, which, I mean, everyone could have guessed, but she said that it was actually self-defense to protect herself because he had been coming at her. Now, with all of these claims of abuse, investigators now needed to determine if they were true. They needed to determine if this was an involuntary manslaughter, this was just a wife who was trying to mess with her husband a little bit after years of abuse and had no intention of actually killing him, or if this was a premeditated murder. They went and spoke to all of the couple's friends and family, and there was not one single person who claimed that Steve had ever been abusive to Lana, or that Steve could ever even be an abusive person. It just wasn't in his nature. There was no evidence whatsoever of physical abuse. No one had ever seen any bruises, any marks, any injuries. No one had even known Steve to ever speak badly towards her. Even Steve's ex-girlfriend, who he had dated for 3 years before he met Lena, said that he was never ever physically abusive, never even close to physically abusive. And she also said how everybody that knew him knew how kind and loving he was. In fact, all of his ex-wives and ex-girlfriends that they spoke to shared the same sentiment. None of them had ever known him to be abusive verbally or physically. None of them believed Lena's claims that he was abusive. And to be honest, even though they were exes, none of them had a bad word to say about him. So by this point, it was pretty clear that this was a homicide. Steve had actually mentioned to a friend a couple of months before his murder that he felt like the marriage to Lena was in trouble. So detectives believed that basically the marriage had run its course, but Lena wasn't ready to kind of let go of the lifestyle because obviously Steve was quite wealthy. And here's the thing, if Steve had died without a will, as his wife, under South Carolina law, Lena would be entitled to his entire estate. And he was worth several $1 million. So she had several million reasons to want him dead. She's telling people just hours after he died that there's no will, and she's so certain of this. She's even telling, his nephew Chris, who was like, I've seen it, that there's no will. You're wrong, there's no will. Doesn't even attempt to look.
And does she even think? She's like, oh yeah, I need that money, so let's just say there's no will, guys. I really need that money, so, there's no will. There's no will.
For a will. Right? If this was all a freak accident like she's claiming it is, surely you would at least look for the will. How would you be so certain that it doesn't exist? Chris even offers to come over and help her look for it, and she's like, no, there's no will. Do not come to my house. There's no will. The day after Steve's death as well. So the day that his nephew Chris was meant to come over and help her look for that will, and she was like, do not come here. Neighbors actually saw her burning a fire in the backyard fire pit. So
you can't make this shot, bro. You actually can't.
They believe, or investigators believe, that she was burning the will in that fire. They also established that she had been administering these eye drops to him for 3 days prior to his death. So from the 19th to the 21st of July, poisoning him bit by bit. So this wasn't just some impulsive act. She upped the dose until that final fatal dose on the 21st of July, which explains the urine-soaked sheets. It explains why he was bedridden for 3 days prior to his death. They also said that as a nurse, Lena would have known that these eye drops were tasteless and odorless, they're colorless, so Steve never would have even been able to detect that these were in his drink. He never would have known that Lena was poisoning him, and this was the reason that he felt sick. So she incapacitated him, and they believe that she, at the start of this 3 days, so on the 19th of July, she actually threw his phone into the river so that he wouldn't be able to contact anybody for help. If you remember, his sister Rosie had been trying to contact him for 3 days, and he never called her back, he never texted her back, and it's because Lena got rid of his phone so that he wouldn't be able to get any help. She planned this whole thing out. What investigators theorize happened is that on the 21st of July, she administered the final dose to him, basically poured the entire thing of eye drops into his drink. They think he may have gotten a surge of adrenaline and tried to go downstairs to get some help or call somebody, but he only made it to the bottom of the stairs before he collapsed. After investigators left Lena's house after the confession, the very next day, she wrote a note saying that she felt really bad for poisoning her husband and couldn't live with herself. She took a bunch of pills and she turned the gas on in her house. Luckily, a neighbor did go and check on her, and they found her, they called for help, and she was taken to a nearby hospital where she was treated. After her treatment, on the 31st of August 2018, she was taken into custody and formally charged with the murder.
Why is she not instantly taken into custody, by the way? Surely you can literally arrest her on the spot. That is... She had confessed. That's enough probable cause.
Her husband. About 3 weeks after she was arrested, there was another murder that took place just 12 miles or under 20 kilometers away from Lake Wylie, which was incredibly similar. In September of 2018, a man named Joshua Hunsucker found his wife, 32-year-old Stacy Hunsucker, dead of a suspected heart attack. So Joshua and Stacy were high school sweethearts. They'd been married for 8
Lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice.
years before her death and had 2 young children together. But the way that he started acting when she died was incredibly suspicious, just like with Lena. First of all, he starts dating his co-worker and moves in with her very shortly after
A pussy could not have been that good.
his wife's death. Never seemed sad, never seemed like a grieving husband. He was always just like happy with his new girlfriend. He also denied having an autopsy done and a toxicology report done, and he had her body cremated just 2 days after her death, saying that he didn't want her to be cut up. And then also 2 days after her death, he also filed for her $250,000 worth of life insurance. And this was like the major thing that Stacy's mum was like, this is weird. She called the Department of Insurance to say, can you look into this? This just doesn't seem right. Something very strange is going on. And they referred it for a criminal investigation. During the investigation, they found that Stacy was actually a blood donor. So before her body was cremated, they took a vial of her blood and they kept that vial of her blood. So they were able to use that to do a toxicology report. That screening came back and showed that she had 30 to 40 times the regular therapeutic dose of tetrahydrolazine in her bloodstream, in her system. Stacy,
Is this just the strat? Like, let's not say that. I retract that statement.
His family also later claimed in a wrongful death lawsuit that Joshua might have been inspired by Lena and Stephen Clayton's case, because obviously it happened just a couple of weeks after Lena was arrested for the exact same thing. What was also found in this investigation is that Stacey had actually been suffering from some medical issues, from some heart issues, and even had a pacemaker. And this all started back in February of 2013 after the birth of their first child. 5 months later, there was a fire in their house that burned pretty much all of or most of their belongings, which they started a GoFundMe to help with all of that. In November of 2014, after the birth,
saying I'll GoFundMe's too quickly. Like, okay, boohoo, a fucking fire burned down your house. That's not great at all. But like, why are you relying on the internet instantly? Like, I get it, like you need something, but it's like I don't even know how to explain that without sounding like a dickhead. But like, saying I'll GoFundMe for your personal house fire issue is kind of insane, you know.
Of their second child, Stacey was admitted to the hospital again for having a low heart rate and low blood pressure, and she was also
Who's even paying for that as well, by the way? Do people just scroll on GoFundMe? Is that a thing? Like, I don't know.
Admitted to the ICU for several days. Then in January of 2015, she was admitted to the hospital again with a low heart rate. When she got to the hospital, she went into cardiac arrest, and she even had to be put on a ventilator. And at the time, doctors had no idea what was causing all of this. I mean, still, doctors don't know what was causing all of this, but tetrahydrolazine does cause cardiovascular issues. This case gets so crazy as well, because when Joshua realized that they were getting suspicious on him and they had been gathering all of this evidence to get a warrant for his arrest, he went and staged his own kidnapping. He harassed his in-laws and accused them of injecting him with an unknown substance. He set fire to a medical helicopter because he was a paramedic, so he was like doing work. He was in this medical helicopter. He set the thing on fire, or like caused an explosion in the helicopter.
Say it with me, guys. Let's do a Dora the Explorer style. LARP, 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 sahur. Can you say it too? Excellent! LARP, 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 sahur!
Helicopter while it was in the air, and he was also accused of administering the same poison, same tetrahydrolazine, to his daughter who was 10 years old at the time, and this caused her to have multiple medical conditions. He was arrested on December of 2019. I believe some of this crazy stuff he was happening was while he was out on bail, but he still hasn't gone to trial. So his trial is set to start in September of this year. So I'll have to keep you guys updated on how that goes and what happens with that. Back in Lana's case, on the 16th of January 2020, she pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter
She pled guilty,
and also
bitch.
to tampering with food and drugs. And as a result of this plea deal, the
Life in
murder
prison.
charges were dropped. Her defense argued that she was suffering from severe PTSD from being sexually abused when she was young, which went unreported. And they also said that when she was in the US Air Force, she was raped by 3 of her fellow servicemen, which was also unreported. They also claimed, and Lena also claimed, that Steve hit her, kicked her, and choked her throughout her marriage, which again, nobody has ever been.
Chat, I'll be honest, like, if that stuff did happen to her, I am so sorry, you know, but it's just LARP. She's LARPing, bro. She's LARPing, man. Like, okay, the stuff with Steve, and then you saying, oh yeah, you have childhood trauma from getting diddled. And then while you're in the US Air Force, you got raped by 3 guys, like maybe it's true, and if so, I'm a dickhead and all that, but like, bruh, it's just LARP. It's just full fucking LARP.
Able to corroborate these claims. In fact, every single person that knew him and knew Lena has said the exact opposite, that there was no way he was verbally or physically abusive. Lena continued to insist that she never meant to kill him, and she addressed the court saying, "I would like to apologize to Stephen's family. I did impulsively put the Visine in Stephen's drink, but I just did it to make him uncomfortable. I never thought it would kill him. I wanted him to leave me alone. I was upset about the abuse, and I just wanted him to leave me alone. I never thought it would kill him. I've never heard of Visine being deadly. I allowed these emotions to make me do something in a matter of seconds that I will forever regret." The judge presiding over the case didn't buy for a second that this was a split-second decision, because, I mean, all of the evidence...
She shot him with a crossbow in the heads! I was looking forgetting that myself. She shot him with a crossbow in the head, and you think, oh, this was a split decision, blah, blah, blah. No! She wanted this fucker dead!
She had clearly been doing this to him for multiple days on end. So he said to her, "How can you maintain that you did this to teach him a lesson when it's obvious from the facts that you let him suffer for 3 days?" At the end of the hearing, Lena was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Steve's sister Rosie said, "I didn't think it was enough. My brother was my world. He
25. Is it actually? Oh, because they dropped all the murder charges. I think it's a manslaughter, right? Fucking hell. Oh my god. Yeah. Fuck. Okay. Whatever.
was the center of my world. None of us can be made whole because Steven is gone." His nephew Chris said, "She stole an amazing man from a lot of people that loved him." And Nick said, "There's a huge hole in everyone that knew Steve, and I think that hole will be there for the
In case I'm in one of these documentaries, I actually need more pictures of me so they can like throw them up, you know.
rest of our lives."
To be fair, like,
but that is
assuming I'm gonna be a streamer, you know, they'll have like infinite fucking clips and pictures of me. So
everything for this. That's all the information that I have for this case. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one, because what do you guys think? Do you think there's any possibility in which she actually didn't mean to kill him?
no, there is not,
there's-
bro. Like, all I'm saying is, if I use a crossbow, shoot you in the head while asleep, and then a few months later you magically die, I think I'll show repeated circumstances, and I'll show, oh wait, I actually gonna kill this guy, you know?
No way. You know, she burned his will. She got rid of his
What about burning as well as well, bro? Oh my god, just like lock her up, bro.
phone so that he couldn't
Put her in the raft, bro. Put her in the raft or the Pentagon, bro.
call anybody for help while she was poisoning him. She tried to shoot him with a crossbow in his sleep 2 years earlier. She also really didn't want that toxicology report or that autopsy report done. She tried to have him, cremated 2 days after his death because she knew that toxicology report was going to show what she'd done. She's also a nurse, you know, she knows how this works. She knows.
My forehead's looking hella shiny right now, I feel like.
She knew what she was doing. And even if she didn't mean to give him a fatal dose, she poisoned the guy for 3 days and didn't let him call anybody for help. She tortured him for 3 days. You know, he was sleeping in this urine-soaked bed while she poisoned him day after day after day until she finally killed him. I don't know why she did that, if she just wanted to torture him until he died, or if she wasn't quite sure how much to give him in order to actually kill him, or I don't know what the deal was there, but it's totally messed up. And she actually only has to serve 80% of her sentence before she's eligible for paroles.
Wait, quick maths. 25, 8% of 25 is 25 divided by 10, which is 2.5. 2.5 times 8 is going to be 20. 8%. Okay, yes, 20 years, bro.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully she doesn't get parole. But that's everything for this case. That's all I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts. I'll be in the comments to discuss, because first of all, I was like, the case itself is so awful that she would do this. By all accounts, he seems like such a wonderful guy, and my heart just goes out to his friends and his family. But also, I never would have had any clue that you could do something like that with something that is just around your house. Something that's so many, I even have eye drops. But yeah, I'll chat to you guys in the comments. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.
My thoughts on this case is this is some of the craziest LARP I've ever seen. The ends. The title is either going to be The Pussy Cannot Be That Good or LARP. Actual LARP. I think that's going to be actual LARP. Alright, see you guys in the next one. Oh, this is playing. Anyway, yeah, bye guys. Bye, I love you all, love you.